We are live. Charlize is gonna drop some lyrics. Yes, it's time. It's been a while. Start again. Check mic. Check mic. Huh? Good? Yeah, sounds good. I'm actually testing this out because I'm on YouTube and I'm Instagram, on my Instagram and Charlize's Instagram.
How are you gonna watch all the comments at once?
Don't worry about that. Greetings. Greetings.
Oh, this is so awkward. Oh, bro, I never went. I don't think I've been live on this app.
It's alright. We start again when we're ready. You ready?
You know,
come again.
This feels so strange.
Greetings.
Okay, that's what I said. Hey. I don't want to be. What's that? Alright.
Don't worry about that.
I want to be randomly styling. I ain't wildin'. Sometimes I come out and do this kind of style. It's just my name is Sunshine. It's been a minute now, but I'm still hopping out and I'm about to get it down. Dropping a couple raps. I'll tell you what it is. What's happening? No cap. I just spit it strictly fast. Like a splat on the top of your head. Don't play no games because you already know. Coming for the top of your dome. When I come in there hitting with it. Stop playing games because you know ain't nothing running with it. I'm quick with it, slipping with it. Like I'm Rick on the beat. You know what it is. You know what it is. I feel like a sea. Ain't it really simple? Yeah, my posture is terrible. I'm sorry. I'm too conscious for me. Let me straighten my back and get back into the rack. Cause damn beat. Different flow now. Hey, it's a whole new show now. Alright. The beat didn't start yet. Hey. Cause you know what's happening. I'm about to do this. I'm the captain of the ship. You know the coolest. Cause I'm so cool. I be doing this like I ain't got no issue with anybody though. I'm just keeping it simple. Keep it on the low. Don't need to do no on delay. Cause I'm on my way in the second, in the minute. No hesitation. This is what I do. You see, I'm Jamaican. Jamaica on my shirt. Yes, I rep it real hard. Yes, I'm American too. But you know I don't ever mistake. I mix it up and do this. Because you know I'm so clueless. Now I'm joking because ain't no provoking me. When it comes to thinking, I'm so free. My freedom vibing, my freedom rising, my freedom been here. So what you talking about? I am. I'm ready to back like your money, got your money. Oh gosh, sorry. Ain't rapped in a minute though. This is how it is. I never stop now. I'm crazy with the lyrics and I spit like I got a list because I rap too fast and it's just hits so whack. It's high hats and snares and everything. Don't be so scared when I'm coming around. Don't be so wary. It's just I be spitting like I ain't been spitting in a minute, but still getting down. And you know I ain't finished, huh? Yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up. This is too funny. I don't know why it's so funny. All right.
What should I wrap up? What's going on now?
I'm like, ooh, I didn't get to finish my dinner yet, cause I was about to wrap another set. I was like, yo, I'm kinda hungry though, but I guess I'ma cut that off just to do a show. Cause I know sometimes I got to do what I gotta do, cause some things is spontaneous, that's what I do. Yes, you know I'm making up a lot of raps off the top of my head. Don't know what I'm saying, but I'm just spitting every second that I get. I'm just showing you this is what I do every day. By the second, what am I talking about? Every second of the day, let me switch it to the flip bag. That's how I sway. Yes, I got food. It was Chinese food, and it tastes real good. The fried chicken with the noodles, yeah, and maybe some dumplings. I don't know. Didn't rhyme. That's okay. It ain't no crime. Ain't no way. Don't pay no fine. No felony. This what I do. It's plenty of these little lyrics that I can spit. It's hysterical. I'm so lyrical. I be spitting like I'm falling. I'm falling on top
do the under me. You wanna do under me?
Underlay, huh?
Under me.
Under me. Oh, okay.
You ready? All right, Charlie's on something for drop on her. Here we go.
Don't take me serious. This is about to be mad funny. Oi, oi. Yeah, yeah. Under me, bang, bang, while your head up. Hey, under me, bang, 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 under me. Under me, bang, bang, bang. Okay. You already know what is next. No need to vex. If you got a problem and you try to put the hex, you'll be gone. Pass away. I ain't got no time for that. I do this every day. What they say under me slang. I don't play no games. As I rap Jamaica, let me say that once again. I've been rapping cool, smooth. I'm making new moves. You know it too. Rapping to that reggae beat. Ooh, it's so cool. Ayy, so you with it, cause you know how we get down with vibes. It's alright. Coming quickly and we got it alright in the place. Cause I'm rocking the court. I do not play when I'm falling. You know what it is. Ain't no stalling. I'm calling you out. And you know this is what I simply do. Flipping on top of it like I got. Woo! Sweating ain't nothing. No sweating ain't no fretting. Cause I got this oil. I'm hitting more heat. Yeah, what I'm saying. I'm a rap about one. Let me money. Under me slang, it's it. It's in my under me slang, and not in the day. What I say? It's in the under me slang, and the day, and the day. When you talk, walk. Alright, look it up. It's so bad. The accent is so bad. It's the way you want, what you want. It's the what you want, what you want.
All right, make it easier for you then. All right.
Alright, open your eyes. Ain't no time to be giving up. Look to the side. It ain't the limit. That's enough. I want you to think and roll about it. No, I ain't no shy about it. Because when it comes to this, you know we about to get it up. I know you understand. You never give it up. It's something that I never think of. Because I gotta keep it pushing, keep it moving like the car. The wheels is pushing. Ain't no hard if it ain't nothing real about it. You know what it is. I said to you, you gotta do this. I'm just writing it up like this is splits. Cause I be on the beat like I'm non-stop. Blowing up on top of them like I'm God. Nah, let me slow it down. I'm dropping on you like whoa. I'm dropping on top of you like I'm about to blow. Just itch my nose. Let me switch it up off the flow. I got it. I'm so out of control. You know, ain't no way that they thinking that they controlling this. Cause I'm the one who wrote the codes and everything in this game. So don't be playing. I say ain't nothing in this industry that can take me down. Bringing it up. And I'm about to ask move around the sound to bring them down. But they ain't never seen this before. Of course, I'm blowing up, drop the mic and flipping the floor like, woo! Look at my parts, it looks so amazing. I did it the other day, and guess what? Ain't nothing stop me, ain't nothing changed. Like my pockets, I ain't dropping. Nah, cause I'm out of that. Yes, I'm out of pocket. Yes, I bring it up non-stop. I'm stocking like I'm stocking the 1950. What? I think that's when he played, but I don't got the time to get the statistics right anyway. I mean, I'm just doing this for fun, ain't nothing about it. Maybe drop a couple of puns, but you know ain't no shot. Cause I got this, I'm on the run. I'm popping off and doing this every day. Hey, I gotta say, sound back, it's a hill of the beat. Sound back, and I still got the heat. Took a little break, but I ain't done. You know what it is, you know what it is, hey. You know what it is, you know what it is, hey. You know what it is, you know what it is, hey. You know what it is. Damn, it's so hot. So hot, so I speak more fire. So hot, so I spit more fire. Raise it higher to the sky like an empire. Burn like a bonfire. Me run like me run tire. Cause the mission is bad, cause they don't understand. We running and we rolling in the whole Cadillac. I don't know, I ain't even got a Cadillac. I don't need no Cadillac, cause I ain't got no driver's license. I'm just telling the truth and you know that I ain't acting violent.
So for the first time, I know it's been a while, it's been a minute. I'm talking to my YouTube followers, talking to my Instagram followers. Charlize wanted to come and bring in her codes. But your auntie said, she said, sorry, I'll get around if it lit that other people doing get a real show. Yeah, all right. Auntie Michelle up there. She's ending her live on her Instagram, on her gram. So I'm gonna be coming over here to this side. This is so, you know, like my desire, which I know is gonna happen, is where everything's gonna be on one platform, and we don't have to juggle back and forth everywhere. So anyway, greetings for all who is still here. How art thou? How are we doing and being today? So anyway, I'm coming on here and I've been pulled by spirit to just bring in some messages that they're just like pulsating through me. And of course, you know, usually sometimes there's always something that lights up the fire within me, you know, because I do have a fire sign as far as my ascendant, you know, and we're already opening up, what do you call it, the full moon energies, because I already was looking and I saw that the full moon is already starting to come in fuller, as my moon is in Pisces as well. And of course we had Miss Virgo here bringing her Virgo codes, and her moon is in Aquarius, you know, getting all of that stuff. So in the meantime, while I am talking to, you know, gentle people, I will be lighting up the fire over here too as well. That's right. This is whew, there's some codes coming in tonight. That's what I have to tell you. And just to let you know, while I'm speaking, I am experiencing a mild headache. So I know whenever that happens, because of whatever codes that are coming in, that is hitting my third eye. So if you're feeling, you know, any type of pain in the center of your eyebrow, heart palpitation, any kind of pain that might come up, because Mercury is also in shadow. So basically, a part of that, what means is that we're reviewing. We're gonna be reviewing again and again and again. While I believe Venus is still in Scorpio, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, I try to light it up so that way we can keep the vibe going, and that anything else that may try to come in cannot, even if I didn't light it. See? That's what I believe, and that's what I know to be true. Come on, lighter. Come on, let's go. Let's get this fire up in here. And you know, I usually start to feel things before the full moon date, because it doesn't have to be the date itself, because it's supposed to be on the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, as far as the full moon. So, ooh, wow, this is so strong. As a matter of fact, this was given to me as a gift from my son Brandon. Isn't that amazing? His friends guided him to get this for his mama, to get me this sage. So I've had it sitting here all this time and I'm finally using it, you know. Anyway, before I begin, how is everyone being? Tell me what is shifting in your reality. What are you processing? If you have any questions or anything at all you want to ask me, if I speak about, you know, that thing that's going on out there, I'm going to refer to it as the jab. Okay, just know that any messages that is going to flow through me, I'm going to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. So help us, okay? Because each day I feel like when I wake up, I feel like as if we're in this time warp, and it's like a movie within a movie within a movie within a movie, and that's exactly what it feels like, because we are really and truly breaking down the false narrative. We're breaking down those old grids. We're breaking down and pulling apart. It's just tearing apart. That's it. And anyone who chooses to still want to hang on tight to it, that's too bad, because everything else new that is embodied on the earth is being recreated. And this is the time now where the choice itself is about how you are staying connected to source, see, and the truth. And it's not about being split or saying, oh, well, I'm just going to be here with this, but I'm not going to, I'm just going to let this be over that side too as well, because this is how we initially started out, was where we were in that oneness of the truth. We were in that space of pure light, you see, where the information, the light itself is knowledge and information, and that information itself, for us to know ourselves, is the fact that we had to split to know ourselves. We started out initially as one consciousness, and that consciousness itself split, and we forgot who we are, which I speak about that so many times, so we can remember ourselves. And so everything that has been written that says that we are coming back to the beginning as it was, and it comes to the end to start back to the beginning. And so what has been pulsating so much on the planet, of course, is fear, so much fear. So whether you have the C or you didn't have the C, whether you have the V and didn't have the V, this is about your ascension. This is about who you are and where you are in your healing process. So not everybody talks about it that way, because a lot of people like to dance around it, and they rather look at it that it has to do with what you do physically to counteract the fear, to bypass what you don't want to look at. Basically, that's a part of the issue. And some may have a struggle with what information that they still keep seeking outwardly in order to make their choices. And there's some who are making the choices based on what someone else's story is. And that's why I've always kept saying, whatever you do, whatever you look at, always remember to stay in your lane. Also, staying in your lane is very imperative at this time. Because if you still keep looking outwardly to what someone else says, what someone else did, or and guess what? Me not care what title them have. They could have doctor, lawyer, judge, president, vice president, prime minister, health minister. I don't give a fuck. It has nothing to do with them. It has to do with you, your path, your connection to source, the true God source codes, what is within your spirit that becomes activated when you start to heal, when you start to walk the path that is from within you, that may be from that unconscious place, to make it conscious. Okay? And if I go into scriptures, Yeshua said, when you walk this path, you have to be willing to know, to remember, to be aware that you may and will end up being separated from everyone. Your mother, your father, your sister, your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, your co-worker, your boss, everything and everyone. That means that you have to realize that everything comes back to you. Everything's going to always come back to you. It's going to always come back to what you are processing, what you are connecting to in that spiral, okay? Because it's a spiral and it's straight. And so that spiral energy is that part of yourself and how you have connected to your ancestors. Your ancestors are you, you are your ancestors. We have moved in these energies and frequencies for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Come again, come back again, left, come back again, over and over again. And the time is up, and the time is now for you to step into your position of power. If you feel that the only way that you can live your life now based on someone telling you what to do, or someone has to have influence over you, or that if you don't go along with the program, then there is no other way out. There's no other option. A lot of people, what's happening with them, it has nothing to do whether they're good or bad, is that they're losing themselves, and there's no more integrity. There's no sort of, what's that word I'm looking for? Accountability. There's no accountability for them to heal themselves. And the accountability goes in many different sides to the spectrum, because I can talk about black and white and how black people are treated against the white people or pale people or melanated people. I can go into the spectrum of how women have been treated, how we're still talking about what's happening with our bodies and being told what to do and how we can do it. Oh, how do you wear your hair, what you eat, what you don't eat. Do you see? This is all the side to the spectrum of judgment, criticizing, pointing fingers, telling someone what they should be, because if they're in their power and that individual feels inferior to someone else who's in their power, then they try to attack, they try to intimidate, they try to force their beliefs onto another one. And And what happens is it also entails and goes into circles with the projections. And so if someone is in fear and they're projecting onto someone else that is not aligned with what they believe in, then what they want to do is they want to hurt you, harm you, criticize, judge, and then it goes on, and then the repeat cycles. And so we're in this time now, okay, because everything is speeding up so much on the planet. I mean, who fast? I mean, I've had some nights where I can't sleep. I just can't sleep. And I'm just feeling all of this energy of not being able to sleep. And I remember when I started out with my ascension process, I had a long conversation with one of my spiritual friends. And I was asked a very good question. I was asked, how long was I separated from my family, that's parts of my family that I turned away from me when I started out with my ascension, which has been since, when I say ascension, I don't know myself, I've been awakened since I was 3. I was aware of certain things that I thought, even at a very young age, I said, this is bullshit. Okay, so I'm just going to reiterate that for anyone who's a new follower or subscriber or whatever, to understand and understand where I'm coming from here with this. And so from the time that I started to notice that things just felt out of sorts for me, and I call it my full-blown awakening from 2014. And so when I came to a realization that something was happening on the earth, I had to go into a place of solitude. And that solitude was for at least 8 months or more. I was alone. And this is where everyone has to get to that point where when are majority are going to self-realize that it's not about all the other stuff that's happening out there in the world. Yes, it exists. Yes, be aware of it. But this has to do with your personal connectivity to source. Again, your personal connectivity to source, creator, Jah, Allah, whatever name you want to call him, her. This is a part of who you are, and coming back to the mother, father frequency codes so you can work through the inner child healing that had been suppressed and dismantled. So anyone who takes the jab, you are choosing to take the jab. Is no judgment on this part, but for you to know, and I'm not saying this because I'm looking for anyone to kind of counteract what I'm saying, you're taking and making those choices along with anything else based on where you are in your healing process. Because there are others out there who have taken it and regret it. There's some who take it and think that they're okay, but guess what? It starts to affect your mind, and it does start to affect your body. And most of the time, people who make choices based on fear, they're the ones that are going to have to still face their consequences of that choice that they made, because they're still going to have to go back and review it again. And as the time on earth continues to increase in this energy that is pushing out like stronger and stronger and stronger, whatever choice they made with whether they take it or didn't take it, because it even this has to do with people who never took it, but they still got the seed thing anyway, because it has to do with the things that they have to look at within themselves that they're still not healing, whether it's on the mother side or the father side, because there are some of you that may still be facing things that you didn't want to face when it comes to your relationship and connection to the masculine energy, your father, or the feminine, the mother principle. The mother is the beginning of life. The mother is the one that has brought forth and given birth to you. See? So you have been created from that time frame of which we have to go back. We have to go back to the beginning. We have to go back to that place of where we connected to the mother, and to heal that part of ourselves, become the mother that maybe you didn't have, or the mother that you have not been able to nurture with yourself, to tune in, to feel, to connect. And so everything else that has brought you from within your mind with what you see and what you take in, with what you read, all of that information now, if you are only looking at it from that linear vantage point where it's just straight and that's it, it's just stagnant in one place, but you're not allowing it to break into motion where you're feeling it in your heart as well. This is where there are some people who are starting to fragment even more. They're starting to go out of their minds because they're not moving the energy within themselves, and all of the things that are blocked in either the womb space or the heart or the liver or the spleen, all different organs of the body is going to feel even more affected than ever before. Because if something is stored there and it's not in movement, then what happens? It turns into mass. You see? And what happens when something turns into mass? Then it becomes matter. And then that's where we say, what's the matter? Because something is within you that is stagnant, it is not moving, it is just in one place. And if you're seeking to get the answers from external only, then what will happen is you're going to stay stuck. And then what happens with society and all of these individuals that want to be in control of people, the only answer that they'll ever give is to get it from them. Do you see what I'm saying? And so if you are still not choosing to connect to your inner God power, you're not gonna be able to align with the earth. You see, you're not, because what will happen is the codes that are coming through, you're not going to be able to interpret it. You're not going to be able to understand it and how to apply it in the daily frequency of change. And so all the others who are walking around in a robot state, meaning that they're just following the program and, day-to-day activity, the same old thing, or they want things to return back to the way it was, which it is not. And so what's going to happen is they're just going to keep getting lost in the sauce. They're going to still keep making the decisions. And then what will happen is the body itself, which is the computer, because if the computer is not ascending, if it's not uploading the new codes, the new frequency, the new thoughts, the new upgrades, it'll start to break down. Because that would be as if I was to go to my computer now and looking for the floppy disk to put in for DOS programming. I went to the bank the other day and the guys are gonna be, oh, how are you managing with everything? And I said, I'm managing perfectly fine, I'm good. Oh, but I was like, well, look at it this way. If things didn't happen the way it was, and when and how is the change gonna come? I said, can you imagine if I was to go and said to somebody, hey, come play this, what do you call it there, the 8-track tape. They look at me like me crazy. Where am I gonna find something to play no 8-track tape? I know you can get the thing to play records now, but it doesn't fit anymore. So if the body and the mind is not in alignment to fit into the rhythm of earth and nature, then what will happen is the body, the mind, your spirit will start to descend even further, because you're not able to connect to the true frequencies of earth. You're not able to hear the clarion call. You're not able to connect to the changes that you need to make, because one is not listening. And when I say listening not just from the ears, but also listening with the heart. Listening with what power that you are connecting back to, your original source of energy, okay? And as it returns to the purest and purest and purest form, where there's no competitive energy, there's no duality, it's just pure love. See? Pure love, where you're not at war with yourself, because it is a deep spiritual warfare out there. It really is. But it may look like the war is a war among other people that's in front of you or around you, but the war is really between you and yourself. No matter what anybody says to you, the war is between you and everything that is happening in your outer reality, because we are not victims here. So for many of you, you might be feeling, well, I've done a lot of internal work, I've done a lot of healing, and that is great that you know that, because you will know that for yourself, you see? And you will know that for yourself. How? Because you are at peace with yourself. You're at peace with your path. You're at peace with everything else that's happening and occurring around you. And that anything that you feel that could trigger you or not trigger you, because that's how you know, is when you're triggered by something someone says, or if you're triggered by, and when I say triggered, that means it makes you feel like you're crumbling inside. Your solar plexus is feeling pain. You start to feel anxiety, fears, and all these things. That's when you know that you're triggered. And each time you're going to go through layers of these triggers. So as we move even further into the Scorpio season, we're going to be going into the underground again, and you'll be able to see how you feel with how you connect to yourself in all of the relationships that you are connected to, whether it's relationship with your siblings, your spouse, exes, the whole 9 yards. And that part of yourself is going to, your higher self is going to keep bringing it over and over again until you master yourself through the light and the dark. And most of the time, there's people who are afraid to still look at their parts of themselves that's showing up in the external outer reality. I even say all the time, I said, there's a lot of focus on the people who have the faces that goes with government, celebrity, politics, all of that stuff. They're just tools that source uses to whatever they do, okay? And to whatever occurs. And whether it's an indirect or a direct effect, it is still something that's in place to get things in motion. Because if we were just gonna be walking around like the walking, okay, I'm just gonna get up and go to work, and then this, that, come on, cook, and then this and that, and then that's it. That's not going to awaken the planet. No, it's going to be the things that are happening externally that's going to affect you in some way. The relationships that you have, that is a part of the process to what's happening. So keep remembering that. Every time something affects you with someone, anything at all, always remember to bring it back to yourself. Always remember to bring it back to you, because it's when you reach again to that 0 point, that's when you know that you have worked through and mastered a greater part of your self-healing. And for those who have made decisions and choices with certain things, that self-healing that you take accountability for, self-healing also means that whether you are the victim, the victimizer, if you did this or someone else did that, whatever it is that you are taking that accountability for helps in the process of what comes next for you. And so if you find yourself feeling stuck or feeling like, well, everything else and all things around the world is still this and that, and it's hurtful and harmful and it bothers me and all that stuff, feel into it, but do not attach yourself to it, because it's still going to happen no matter what. Everything is still going to occur no matter what. And so how it comes into play for you now is how you are allowing yourself to master through the breakdown and rebuild through the breakdown. It is not going to happen where everything just falls apart and all of a sudden 10 years from now you're like, oh yes, I can now build. No, it's happening in the between, in the spiral. It's happening through the spiral and the linear standpoint with everything. This is where we use divine intelligence, because the intelligent codes is, do you see and feel what's happening? You're not emotionally in pain with it, because you can empathize and you can, understand that everyone has to go through their process of awakening. Everyone. You can't take everyone with you. You can't explain everything to every single individual to what you are experiencing, because it's not their path, it's your path. So stay focused on your lane, stay in your lane. And if it needs be that you are assisting someone else that's on the path with wherever you are, whatever you do, that's fine. But if you're going to be giving and giving and giving, and you're not grounding yourself and healing yourself or pushing yourself in the direction to where it's the highest and best for you, and remember that path itself, you're going to be alone. There is no one that comes with you. There isn't. Now, there is a collective energy that comes together as we're rebuilding, because, we are rebuilding our communities. We're rebuilding the tribe. We're rebuilding ourselves, the inner child. We're rebuilding and assisting the children that are here now and the ones that are coming in. Now, I'm going to give some downloads that I've received also, which I've stated before, and I'm being guided to give that as well. I will be presenting that information because I do have something else that I want to also point out. And when I say point out, I mean bring it to, I want to bring it to light. I want to bring it to light. When I bring something to light, that means I'm bringing forth the information that flows through me and the codes in understanding how to interpret what is happening now on the planet. Because remember, we all will see things from different perspectives. We may not see things in the same way, and it doesn't mean necessarily if it's going to be right or wrong, because remember, the all there is, okay, source creator, the universes among universes, paths among paths, chooses and desires to experience things from many different spectrums of light, the spectrums of dark and light, okay? And colors, mathematics, everything, all of it, okay? And again, the portals are opening and they've been opened, and there's portals that are opening among portals and other frequencies, and everything. It's just faster, faster, and faster and faster. And so this process itself is still going to require that you're going to be separated even more from others. You're going to find that you just don't hear from certain people. You may find there's people that have left out of your life and they come back. Again, do not attach. There are those who may have taken the jab, but then they work on themselves and they heal themselves, and they're able to allow their spirit to guide them into what they can do to work through the process of their ascension. Now, nothing is written in stone either. So things can change drastically with each individual person depending where they are. Do you see what I'm saying? But it is important, again, that even if you have taken it or if you're not taking it, again, the path itself is about your alignment with spirit, your alignment with source, your alignment with Mother Earth, you're in alignment with nature. You are one with yourself. You are forgiving yourself and forgiving others. If you can't forgive others, it's okay. Leave that to source, God. Leave that to the creator, okay? But allow yourself to heal whatever part of yourself that has not been able to let go. If you feel that you have to control what has happened in the past that you're not able to let go of, because when you are holding on to those frequencies of pain and sorrow and the dogma too as well, you know, because there's a lot of belief systems that are still floating around that's connected to the religion and the Roman Empire, and there's still people that just don't want to let that go. They just continue to spin those narratives, and it's because their interpretation of what they believe for the word of God's source was supposed to be, their interpretation of it is more of something that's in control over them. And all of that Roman energy, empire, the white supremacy, all that stuff is breaking down. It is breaking down. You see what I'm saying? And whether anyone wants us to understand the concept and view of how it is, you don't even have to do anything because it's happening automatically, period. That's it. You see? So you might even find yourself like kind of looking at things and saying, oh man, look at this. This was here like this then, and then it's not like that anymore over here. And then you feel like as if, I don't know if any of you have been feeling yourself as if you're in all these dimensions all at once. Or if you find yourself being busy doing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like that's how it has been for me. And finding myself feeling like if you're walking beside someone, you're just in a different dimensional space than they are. Like wherever I go, like I mean, where I'm living or in my region, where area county that I'm in New York, me not wearing a mask, and I could see people looking at, and they're just walking in fear. Okay, so they're not really showing anything as far as signs anymore in some of the stores around me, but a lot of stores are closing down. A lot of businesses are just not there anymore, not functionable anymore, anything like that. And, you know, for me, my consciousness cannot hold in a vibration of anyone that is feeling or thinking otherwise to what they are in fear of and what can happen. And so there's people out there that are also, not just to do the job, but there's people out there that's going to be talking about things that is going to depict the end of the world, but it's not the end of the world where everything is completely gone. It's the end of the world in how things used to be, how things were run on the planet, how things were coming together when it comes to relationships, marriages, people who are connecting to relationships that are not based on a spiritual connection with another individual. If it's based on just, you know, sex and money and prestige and power, you know, or how much assets that one has and all that stuff, that's all disappearing. You see, because the foundation itself is what is establishing now, the solid rock. And anyone who is still basing their life on a sinking sand, whether they got the jab or not, they're not going to last on the planet. Because the solid rock is the foundation of which that principle itself is that you are activating your true avatar. You see that you're allowing that part of yourself to be prepared for that crystalline energy that continues to pulsate. Now, I know that there are videos and stuff that have been circulating to do with the plasma, the heart womb of Earth. I forgot what they call it, the Schumann resonance and all that stuff. I mean, I don't pay attention to all of that stuff, to be honest with you, in terms of like, you know, researching it or anything like that. But I've been hearing that. For me, I'm more like an empath, and I can feel it. I can feel the energy. I can feel the difference in my reality, and I can see the difference in my reality. I've also been experiencing where something is working out, and then all of a sudden it changes to something else, and then it comes over to something else, and then it, you know, greetings, Cosmic Heartbeat, Milana, Stephen, greetings, greetings. So it's like, I realize that if you find yourself in situations where, greetings, elevated goddess, greetings. I'm not able to see who's on unless you type in, but I'm sending you infinite love, blessings. Blessings rest upon us always, and guidance. That we always will receive guidance at all times and all moments, in all time and space. And so it is. So, I forgot where I was going. Spirit, bring it back to me. Okay, I hope it'll come back to me where I was going with that. Just wanted to acknowledge everybody. Okay, so all right, I don't remember where I was gonna go with what I said, so hopefully it'll come back. Now, there's something that has come to light recently. Yes, if anyone really pays attention to any part of the news media, whether you're, you know, I don't really turn on the TV as much. That's another thing that I just don't find myself turning on the TV, like, because I feel like maybe I'm not even thinking about it. Like, I feel like maybe there's some frequency signals they're sending out there, because, you know, there are still remnants of dark forces that will still try to interfere with the twin souls that are coming into union. So it's imperative to be aware of your thoughts. You might find yourself having thoughts, maybe suicidal, maybe thoughts of hurting yourself, maybe thoughts of maybe I should go get the you know what I mean? So be aware, because remember the effect that is going to happen on the planet to do with the pairs, okay? And I say the pairs because not everyone really is aware of that. And I'm always shown over and over and over again that the pairs are going to be the game changer, the chess piece that Source God is going to be using. Okay, do you know what I mean by that? So it's like everything that has been held back, okay? And it's important again to stay in your vigilance and awareness of where you are feeling and thinking on things, grounding yourself, self-love, self-healing, still take your baths. Just recently, Spirit came to me in a dream, my celestial ancestors, and I didn't know what stone it was, and my daughter-in-law led me to finding out what stone it was, and it's the aragonite. So I'm in the process of getting other parts of, you know, the aragonite in an earring form. I got it already in a necklace or everything. So anything that you're being led with messages, stay focused. Stay focused on that, because who knows, I'm supposed to mention this because the aragonite stone and crystal is what will help you to ground, and especially when it comes to relationships, connections, anxiety, for you to have patience. So like if there's any new mothers out there, or if you're a mother, if you have children and you feel like you're frustrated and you don't have patience and stuff like that, it's okay. It's a part of the parts of your human self that is working through the integration in what you're grounding with your higher self, because this is a time of higher self time, okay? And that's just a fact. So it's like any part of yourself that's just human is no longer just gravitating to just the human construct. So that's why it's going to even feel more like there may be more things that feels like it goes against your spirit, or you don't get excited anymore over certain things, maybe certain TV programs you don't watch anymore, certain, you know, the foods. You might feel yourself feeling you don't want to eat any food at all. You may feel like you're just pigging it out, like it happened to me too. Like I just was eating. I was like, oh my God, I'm just so hungry and hungry, because Part of your body is also acclimating to the grounding of the codes and the energy. You may find yourself sleeping for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. It happened to me too. And then there's times where you feel like you're not going to want to sleep again, or you don't want to sleep at all. So just move with the flow every day. If you must go into the past and the Akashic records, remember you're going back into the past to reconcile with your spiritual self, okay? Because we are bringing in the marriage, the alchemical marriage of mind, body, and soul. So that part of yourself that fragmented in past lives and past timelines is what you're continuously working on and reconciling. You may, if any of you have found yourself like feeling certain thoughts that you might feel is not your own, 9 times out of 10, it may be your counterpart, okay? Or you may find yourself tasting what they're eating, smelling what they're smelling. That's a part of you. Your soul is reconciling, coming together, okay? Because you're becoming one. You're becoming one with them, one with God, one with Source, one with nature. Remember, for those who have never heard me speak on this before, at some point, eventually, and it's not going to be 20 years from now, 30 years from now, or 1,000 years from now, it's all happening now. Is where we are going to be one with life. You're going to be so in love that you're spinning so high and vibrating so high, and there's just no explanation for it. I was feeling that way from 2 weeks ago. Like every day I was just feeling so happy, so joy, feeling so blissful. And then a few days after that, I started to feel sad, and I had low depression feeling, and that goes with the process, because remember that the light is going to shine onto the darkness, to whatever is unconscious. So even if you're feeling the feeling, but you don't know where it's coming from, it could be part of yourself that you are having to face that you have not addressed, or maybe there's still some part of it that's left of sadness or something you experienced as a child, or there may be a part of yourself that you were afraid to look at and face that shadow. So if it's the shadow of your experiences, shadow of the government, shadow of your teachers or your spouses or your neighbors, still something that's reflecting from you. So we still, even if it's seething, you give thanks and praise for them, because they are helping you to see that part of yourself that you probably couldn't see, that was hidden, and it was hidden on purpose by God's Source. And it was hidden by God's Source because you can only take it at dosages at a time. Otherwise, you just blow up into all these different pieces, and that's not the desire of Source. The desire of Source is for all of us to be able to come together in harmony, but not everyone is going to make it. And I'm being honest with you. I've been getting same repeating. There's so many people that are leaving the planet, and there are people leaving the planet beyond the sea thing. People leaving the planet from all different ways, all different ages. Okay, it is not our business. I remember back in 2015, like I said, when I was recording for the book, the audio book, The Return of the Garden of Eden, and I heard Spirit say as plain as day, say goodbye to everyone that you love, anyone you know, indirectly or directly, because I don't know what the path is going to be for them, you see, and that they may end up not being here on the planet any longer, and I have to be okay with it, you see. And I had to process through that. Because when I hear it as clear as day, I have to just be in acceptance of that, you see. And so in and of itself, I had to just kind of brace myself, like every day, like, oh my God, am I getting a message? Am I getting a... And I had a relative that transitioned 2 weeks ago, right on the new moon, like literally on the new moon. And I felt like a portal opened up. I did. I felt it. And And then I allow myself to process through that along with other things too. You know what I mean? Because everything is just going to keep moving and coming in waves and spectrum. It's going to come in waves. It's going to feel like, okay, I'm here back on earth. And then there's times you're going to feel like I'm off planet. And then there's times when you're going to feel so much of this joy that you don't want to come back down to earth, but you're still here. And I remember when I went through that process myself back in 2015, where my spirit was floating up and I was up to the ceiling. Like I literally, it was like having a near, like when people talk about near death experience, I didn't die from anything, but it's like I was dead and alive at the same time, because I could see myself like tall, like walking on stilts on my own body. And then when I'm there looking on body, I was like, oh my God, look at this. Oh, wow. I'm you know, I'm walking around and I'm in my body, and everything felt so beautiful. Everything felt so much love I felt for everything. I didn't care about bills. I didn't care about stress of any kind. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. Nothing. And my soul was lighting up like a light bulb through my whole body. It's like you literally can see the sun shining through me. And so I was supposed to go through that experience because I was supposed to talk about it, because that's what's coming to earth and that's what I know. And I will still keep repeating that. And this is where we're heading into that part of ourselves that our bodies are going to be continuously acclimating to the crystalline energy. That and even they showed me today or yesterday, because you know time going so fast, like I'm like, oh, this was yesterday, today, tomorrow, last week, 2 weeks, like it doesn't even matter because everything's happening now. And I saw parts of our bodies, like I could see the crystalline in the organs were turning into, and that's the reason why if sometimes you might find yourself feeling nauseous, you may find yourself feeling like you don't even want to drink water either, and you know you try, like, or you don't think about it, like you know you need to drink it but you don't. And you may find yourself constantly going to the toilet too, because your colon, everything is going through so much change. And so even the children that are conceived now and the ones who've been born already, that's not even the ones that are going to be looking like what's coming, greetings that are coming in by 2023, because they still show me when Pluto goes into Aquarius, that's going to be when parts of that game changer comes in. And the reason is because it's like an implosion of those who are walking the path, the ones who know, you know within yourself that you are chosen, you know within yourself what your purpose is, and your purpose is really for you with that alignment with Earth. Earth is fine. She's doing what she needs to do in what is shifting within her body, her heart. Her heart chakra is opening more and more. So you're going to find yourself feeling in love with life, but you're also processing on the human level with everything happening around you. Don't bypass it. So if you feel angry over certain things, let yourself feel it. Feel through it, and then you're going to find yourself shifting back over into the joy again of what is grounding on earth. And it's going to make you feel like it's an element of surprise. So there are children that are coming in, not the ones that are here now. I know there are a lot of babies that are coming in that were coming in. I'm not talking about the ones conceived during the 2020 and 20. I'm talking about the ones that they showed me. They're going to be conceived through the union of the pairs from different parts of the world that are creating this new grid, okay? And it's already starting to form. It's starting to take form. And so what's happening is it's moving through parts of the body, the physical body and the spiritual body, okay? And again, this is for those who are in alignment with their union with God, source creator, in their God bodies, okay? And their beloved. And then these babies will be conceived during a particular point and time. And they always kept showing me, this was from 2015-16, I received this vision, that it's just going to be a time, just like if you remember Matrix coming December 21st, where particular pairs are just going to be in that sacred sexual energy together physically, and these children are going to be conceived in that crystalline frequency to be born or to be incarnated on the planet either. I'm not sure if it's before, it feels like during Pluto in Aquarius. It feels like during, okay? And I already had a dream of what a crystalline baby looks like, because it's like I had my own, and it was a boy baby, and the child was communicating telepathically with me. And it was like I didn't have to speak out of my mouth. There were no words that were coming out of my mouth. And the same time I had the dream, my sister had the same dream. Now, she didn't know I had the dream, okay? So I always have dreams of things that are to come. And so I stick by what was shown to me. So just know that even with whatever is happening now, because I know that Pluto is in Capricorn, when it moves into Aquarius, which is already starting, because you know that even though these cycles come in by particular dates, it will still flow through ahead of time, okay? And I also have been seeing twos and twos and twos and twos. So they even showed me 22, okay? Whatever, which you know that if any of you don't know that my solar return is 210, and I'm also going to be having my nodal return January when the North Node moves into Taurus. So it's like the way they describe it to me, it's like it's going to become groundbreaking. You know, like when you have a groundbreaking ceremony, and it's like when these sexual energy codes come in through the pairs. Okay, because this has to do with the original pairs on Earth that existed. And these codes are not yet activated, because you see the codes that within you now, as we are continuing to move through that spiraling energy, because it all comes through to do with the feminine, is linked to the feminine, the empowerment of the feminine. Everything that's coming up in the shadow of the feminine, which has to do with the abortion thing that's coming up in Texas and all this. Remember, everything that's now, even though it's not a nice thing, be aware, because it's a part of what has to move in the reverse cycle of things that are happening on Earth. Keep using divine intelligence and wisdom to these shifts. And so even if it involves judges, lawyers, government, still source, still necessary, because all of the lies and all the deception was built on that sinking sand, so-called foundation. But the foundation itself is breaking. And as it is breaking through us, because we are the ones. It is through our energy. It is through the vortex that's within us that's breaking it down. That's the way it works. You can still be in your power in what you do and what you attain and what you shift without using anything. Like I told my son, my second oldest son, he already did the paperwork and all that stuff to do with the Moors. You know, he's aware of himself, not because I said anything to him. And I told him, I said, well, my path, you know, I did give birth to him. He came through my vessel, and he was amazed at all the things that I knew. And I didn't know things because I read books. I've been aware of certain books. I've looked into certain books. I've gone through and go through pages, you know, speed reading and stuff. But I said most of the information I received was because I connected to spirit, and they're always talking to me. You know, they're moving through these energies through each and every one of us. And so when you receive that information, whatever it is for you to be prepared, prepare your bodies, your minds, and your soul, whatever it is that you can connect to that brings you peace. And peace doesn't necessarily always mean quiet. Peace could be just being a happy space somewhere over the rainbow, in the rivers, valleys, you know, it could be among 100 people. You know what I'm saying? Because you will know, because you will feel it, and you will just know that even if it looks strange for anyone else, it's not about them, it's about you. Okay? It's about you. So that path itself, not everyone is going to get the same messages. They're not going to receive the same type of power that you have, because that power is only going to be restored for those who are in integrity, those who are still taking accountability, those who are they're telling me like in a space of observation. So like you're aware of how you observe what's happening in your space, but you're not taking it personal. Remember, the bigger picture is that we are here to be who we always desire to be. You cannot know yourself until you face the opposite of yourself. So every time someone points the finger at this one did this, like I'll give you another example, right? I am aware of certain people in the spiritual community, one in particular, where he has started to have like breakdowns or something. Like he's acting different and weird and all that stuff. And I told, good night, beautiful. I told my brother when he sent me information to do with him, and I said, no, not really interested. And he was like, why? He's very educational and he knows all this stuff. I said, yeah, he might be educational and know all this stuff, but I feel that there isn't anything that I can get from him. And the reason is because I didn't feel like he was connecting through his heart. And I'm very happy and proud to see a lot of our melanated men are connecting to themselves, they're awakening, they're receiving the truth, because it's important for them to find themselves and to heal themselves, to heal the mother wound, to heal the father wound, because they are the original blueprint of the earth. And that's a fact. They are the original blueprint of the earth, which came through from Mother Creator, okay? And so when I was watching just one of his videos for 2 seconds, I couldn't watch it anymore. And I told my brother, I said, you know what? He has healing to do with his mother. And so that's why his relationship has gone to shit. That's why he spoke about his baby mother so terribly. And I heard how he kicked her out. And I wasn't surprised. And I've been observing a lot of males, masculine, whether melanated, non-melanated, recessive, whatever. And I still am able to see the spectrum of where they are in consciousness and their own healing process, you see? So we have to be patient and understand that they are going to speak and do things based on the level of where they're healing for themselves, what they're taking accountability, how they're connected to their hearts. You have to remember too that there's some who are operating from a space of afraid of losing their identities, because we have the alpha male, we have the beta male, we have the males that are more into the heterosexual path and some that are in the same sex path. And there are some who are more in masculine energy and there's some who are more in feminine energy. And there's a lot of misunderstanding and mix up all over the place in how people interpret the frequency and interpret it. And so it doesn't even make sense to get too involved in the squabble in certain communities with it, because again, everyone is going to be moving in spectrum and layers of this understanding of where and how love takes you. Okay, and when I say where love takes you, because there are some people who are still stuck in the case of love with conditions, and then there's some who are, well, I'm in between. It's unconditional and I have conditions placed on it, and it's all because there's a fear of letting go of love being free. Because the fear itself, just like with taking the job, the fear, it brings it inward, it tightens up, it wants to control. It's not, in a space of opening up. You see, because when love is opened up, when it's free and expanded, there is no more attachment to labels. There's no more attachment to what someone looks like, color of their skin. There is no questioning about what choice they make, because that's their choice, even if it's not a good choice. And it's a choice but that love itself, which Yeshua talked about, he said that when we enter into these kingdoms or queendoms, you must be really born again, like a child that's innocent, that is like sort of like naive, but then not too naive in a sense. You know what I mean? And so it takes time, because the ego is always going to want to have things put in a box and labeled. And ego is not necessarily bad. It's just the way it's defined in how we choose to separate each spectrum of all these experiences. You see? So again, if your path is a path that is unknown to anyone in your circle, and at this point in time, these vortexes are opening up, okay? And the vortex itself is moving like this, because, it just moves like this. It moves this way, it moves that way. Then we also have the spiraling of that frequency where it's moving like a coil, okay? And then we have also the energy that's just moving in a straight line. So it's all of the parts of self that's connecting to your chakras, that's connecting to all your past experiences, your past lives, what your perception is, how you have been operating just like your ancestors. And remember that as you are grounding that new aspect of love in what you're embodying on earth, okay, it's going to go against the grain. It is always going to go against the grain. Because why? Because it has never been done before. Yeshua said that I do great things, but those who come after me will do greater things than I have. So if you're moving forward with your path and who you are and the uniqueness of your path with who you are and whoever else, you can't keep on a look behind. Because if you keep looking behind, then what happens is you might lose and miss your time in where things and life is taking you. You see, if you remember Harriet Tubman, when she had the Underground Railroad, she never want to worry about all of those colored people that still wanted to hold on to the massa. Because there's some people that are literally still holding on to what the massa says, because they're in fear of letting go of the control and the manipulation that they have been a part of, that programming. You see? Because they want to hold on tight to a book that is still not understood into the full spectrum of what is being interpreted. So their interpretation is based on what someone else said, what was shoved down someone's throat, and then that's it. Nothing else, nothing further. Nothing's questioned, nothing is looked into, nothing at all. Everything just sucked in every day in, day out, day in, day out. So if you find yourself at a point where it's time to speak up again about what your truth is for you, sometimes that truth itself doesn't have to be spoken. Sometimes it's just in silence, because you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You're not proving anything to anyone. You're just being. There is no mission. Let me repeat that. There is no mission. It is for you to be on earth. We're not here to save anyone. You're here to be on earth. You're here to express and be in the full expression of your soul in harmony. Okay? And that anyone else who chooses to inhabit the earth, that they are free to be themselves just as much as you are. Now, of course, what lasts is the ones who are in alignment with that true, purest form of love. Because remember, we were just all in this whole encompassing sense of love, and to know love and to feel love and to experience love means that we have to go back into the dark, and that there are people and energies that are going to play a role for you to see and to experience. So that way, are you really demonstrating that love of yourself? You can't, well, you can, but you can try to say that you're going to love someone else and give all that love to them, but then you're still not healing. You're still not looking at the parts of yourself that is denying God's love, denying the love that may come from another, because you're still in that wounded space. You see, that you feel you're not worthy enough to heal yourself, that you need something or someone outside of you to facilitate that healing. It has to do with your worthiness. What you are feeling worthy about. That's what Venus and Scorpio also represents. Your value, your worth, how you feel, what you deserve to have. You see? Everything. Money is not bad. Money is not evil. Looking nice and smelling nice is not bad either. Wearing hair, added hair in your hair, wearing lipstick, jewelry, it's not bad. It's the perception. Being in a relationship with someone is not bad at all. It's a learning tool. There's things in our lives that's brought for us as tools. The people out there that do what they do and you see it and you feel it and you observe it, those are the tools to get you to the place that it triggers and activates you to get to the highest expression and form of self. That's why you're here. So those people that still talk about, oh, you're in a mission, and you keep going on burnout, but you try to see if this one, and oh, well, just look at this over here. Oh, come on. Stop. We're not here on a mission to save anyone. It is not a mission. It is a time to be. It is a time to be in your fullest expression, where we don't have to worry about nobody coming after us. Because some of you might have times where you're having nightmares. I had to process through nightmares. Like somebody's trying to choke you, somebody's trying to get you, somebody's like, you're feeling that energy. And it's because those are the parts of the unconscious parts of yourself in that shadow where you had those experiences in past timelines. And so each event that shows up now is going to be a trigger to trigger it to show up in your reality, so you can now heal and work through it and let go. Because it's not real. It's a algorithm that's playing out that creates something in as a visual. Perhaps the visual could be in a dream state, perhaps the visual could be in the physical state, and that visual itself is giving you that feeling of fear, as if the same event can occur again. So that's why some people get triggered by the things that are going on in the government, and the things that's going on with this one and this one and that one, and this one is a that and this one is a that. Shut the fuck up with that shit now. Come back to yourself. Come back to yourself. And as where did that come from? Because let me tell you something. Let me give you another prediction that was given to me. Someone in the power is no longer going to be physically here on the planet. Like they showed me this exit point coming towards the end of the year. And what's going to happen is when that individual is coming off the planet, because I could see where that individual is actually used as a robot to just deliver these messages as a programming to others in what they want you to do, that hidden agenda. And what's going to happen is someone else is going to go into power, and she's going to be representing the, what they call it, oh my gosh, I can't remember that name. When you're going deep into the dark. Down deep into the dark, like they're telling me Lilith. It's like the Lilith is what she represents. She's going to represent that part of those who are so bomba-clot triggered by the dark mother, the dark feminine. And I don't mean dark evil. I'm just talking about the part of creation that existed. The ones that people don't want to have these conversations. They don't want to talk about it. You see, because we can't always be just in the light. Because you could be just all in the light. Oh, I'm in the light. Oh, this feels so good. I just love it. I love feeling so good. Oh, this is so wonderful. No, I don't want to talk about this over here. No, I just want to stay right here. No, just right here. No, I don't want to talk about that. That's it. I want to stay in this position where I'm so happy. And then the world just starts changing drastically. And they can't handle it. You see? So we can't bypass it no more. So she who's coming into power, because I've been predicted already from the very beginning. You see? So I know maybe some people misinterpreted when I say that there are the tools that are given to us throughout humanity through God's source creator. Because it seems like as if people seem to, yes ma'am, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about on my YouTube, because I'm on YouTube and I'm on Instagram. So she starts with a K. Yes, just in case the algorithm, I try to look for name and them things there. You know what I'm saying? And so she represents, I remember the name. Thank you, Spirit. The lotus flower. Look up the lotus flower. It is that part of yourself that goes deep into the earth. And the way that that you give birth to yourself is by going deep into the earth to bloom again. And so anything that has affected you, because I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of triggers when it happens. Mark my word, both Black and community and the Caucasian community. That's right. And again, for those who will understand the reason and the purpose, is because you are connecting to the higher intelligence and that divine wisdom. Everybody have healing to do. There is no exception, including myself. Let me repeat that. Everybody has healing to do, whether they like it or not. A lot of the triggers come from the father wound and the mother wound. Mother is the beginning of life. It's the first breath that you take. And when you are in formation, what happens before you're born? you got to be in the dark. So a lot of those in humanity, as they call it, will be triggered by when that happens. I'm telling you, the chips are going to fall. And as that, those blocks, okay, because you think about, like say I have this, the crystal here, and imagine if I took it and threw it against the wall and it breaks up into pieces, it's going to shard all over the place. And each part of those pieces are going to represent something of the aragonite. That's it, aragonite. Does it mean that all the pieces of the aragonite is still not aragonite? No, it's still aragonite. But each piece is going to come in, it's going to form into something different. It's not going to look like the same shape that it was in like this. And still this piece makes up another piece and another piece. So she is still going to represent a piece to what comes through in the puzzle. And you don't know how many times I've gone through things, oh man, even recently, and something that I anticipated that was going to happen, you know, in a good way for me. And all of a sudden I was denied. And I said, oh my God. And I sat there in the car and I was contemplating, what am I going to do? And a part of me just said, I'm not going to give up. You see, me, Sharon, if I was going to give up all the times that I've gone through things, for those of you who know who've been with me for a long time and knew what I've gone through and experienced, if I was to just give up just like that, I don't even know what to tell you. I probably would be here talking to you. I probably would have been in a mental institution and all the kind of things there. You see, but the me in me, the I am, okay, me, myself, I am that I am, always says, I am not going to give up. And so whatever comes through, it's not